Hey there, and welcome to the Real Estate Joint Venture Club. I'm going to be going through one joint venture agreement at a time, so that you can see the difference between joint ventures. And take your pen and paper. You have a 300% better chance of remembering what you're going to be learning here with a pen and paper, because you're going to be able to refer to it later on, and you also make it go into your cellular memory. So please put down any distractions, put your cell phone away. This is some serious business we're talking about here, because we're going to be going through the process that I have gone through in understanding joint ventures. So first, we've got a bit of a disclaimer. This publication or any seminars given in relation thereto is sold or otherwise provided on the understanding that the author, Odin, or the Real Estate Joint Venture Club, or its presenters, as the case may be, are not responsible for any results or result of the action or inactions that you take or don't take in reliance upon the information contained in this publication, or conveyed by way of a seminar, or if we make any errors, and so on and so forth. So you can read the rest of the disclaimer and know that I'm not giving you any kind of legal advice. I recommend you go and have your own advisors, and I'm sharing with you what I've done. My goal is this: I want you to do a real estate deal with me. So the goal is for me to show you and for you to get educated, because when you are educated and you know what to do in regards to joint ventures and buying real estate, that's the niche, that's the business niche that I'm in, is in real estate. My first background is in sales and marketing, and I've coached and trained and educated a number of businesses in the last number of years. So from that, I decided I would build my own business, and I decided that joint ventures was the vehicle or the model. There's many other models out there, and this is just one diversified idea in business. I'm learning a lot more about online business. I'm learning a lot more about international business as well. I'm just continuing to progress in my own understanding. So with that, let's take a look at the first agreement that I have here as a sample joint venture agreement. This is from the Self-Counsel Press. The Self-Counsel Press is a local book that you can buy. On the corner, it gives you ideas of legal documents that you can use. I would hesitate. In my early business, I didn't use lawyers. Well, I did use lawyers, and I didn't use lawyers. And the times I did use lawyers, it was always better than the times that I didn't use lawyers. So there are certain times that you don't use lawyers. For instance, if it's a coaching agreement, a consulting agreement, or service agreement, you don't necessarily need to have a lawyer there to sign. But if it's going to be anything to do with real estate, I really recommend that you have your independent lawyer take a look at it and give you some advice, and the other party's independent lawyer take a look at it, or legal advisor, and whatever the case may be. So here we have the partnership of the business. So you're going to explain, and this is all transferable skills, as I like to mention in all of the presentations. My background is in business, and in any kind of joint venture or any kind of business venture, joint ventures is just one aspect of the entire business. I mean, there's so many things that you can do as an entrepreneur to run a business, and very often an entrepreneur wears all these hats. The key is to narrow in on your niche, and narrow in on your target market, narrow in on what it is that you want to accomplish. So I'm going to approach all of this from a real estate idea so that you can understand where I'm coming from. If I'm going to do a joint venture on real estate, it depends the kind of purchase or the kind of deal that it is. If it's me and you going to buy a property together, I probably would not use this agreement. I'm going to show you the kind of agreement that I would probably use. It's a little more in depth. This is a good working ground if you're sitting down with a couple of friends having some ideas, you want to work out a good agreement. Most lawyers want you to use their agreements. They're going to have you pay for the agreements as well. So most legal agreements are not going to cost this 3-page whatever cost, maybe $30 or whatever it is for the agreement. You can get online agreements as well. But most legal agreements from a lawyer, that your lawyer and their lawyer, someone has to agree who's going to start it, that they cost anywhere between $700, $750 and above. If you get anything less than that, good for you. That's fantastic. But remember, The other lawyer on the other side is going to pay to go and review it and read it and make sure that everything is done well. So in order to do joint ventures, you have to have a little bit of savvy to reading agreements and understanding them. It's really important. With sophisticated investors or investors that know about real estate or know about business and joint ventures, it's a lot easier to deal with those than with people that are just starting out. Whereas with people just starting out, it's just a learning curve. So you take the business, what the partnership's going to be. So for instance, I'm going to go and look for a property for you who has money and credit. We can do a joint venture here. We can say Odin is going to go and look for a property. Maybe it's going to be a wholesale deal, or maybe it's going to be a probate or a foreclosure, or it's not going to be something on MLS, maybe not right away. And what I do is I go and I tie it up, and then what I will do is I will bring that to you, and I make sure your financing binder's done and make sure that you're ready to do a deal. And I go out, and then what we do is maybe you don't have the time to manage it. So what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll manage that. So we discuss the entire joint venture relationship here. And again, this is not the agreement I would use. I'm just showing you some examples of what's out there. So with this, what you do is see what the term is. So the partnership is going to be beginning on one day and what day. And that's going to be important. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end, as you've seen in other presentations for joint ventures. Then there's the partnership share and capital. So that's how much money you're going to go in. What are the assets, liabilities, profits, and losses, the partnerships. So this is all the percentages. So you guys share everything. You determine what's going into the deal, and then what is going to be the share that is going to be received for that, and what is going to be your overall contribution, and what is your overall return, and what happens if there's any losses. Because a lot of people, they don't like to think that there could be a loss. Very often markets go up and down in anything, and really we know that real estate, like anything else, it's a long-term business. It's a place to put your money and let it and protect your money. It's a nice vehicle. So then we talk about the capital contributions. If interest is paid for any money that's putting in, what the percentages may be. And then we talk about also the bank arrangements and the financial records. We talk about partners, the accounts and salaries, and this is, each point is gone through by you and your success circle, or your networking circle, or your joint venture club, or whoever it is, and you go through it and you understand it all together. You get ready for a deal, and all of this is to prep you and prepare you for what we call our joint venture information packages, where it shows the property, it shows the returns, it shows all the information from beginning and end, and then you decide with you and your group if that's something you want to partake in. So I'm going to be sharing a ton of information with you on how you can partake in real estate with yourself and your own group, or with me. Ideally, it's with me. So we talk about the termination of the partnership. If there is a termination, well, there's always a termination, an ending of that particular joint venture and the beginning of other joint ventures. I've had some people who tried to say that we're in a joint venture, and they verbalize it, but nothing was in writing. So, I mean, if somebody believes something and you say no to them and it's not in writing, realize that, you know, it really, there's a saying, if it's not written, it's not real. So get the agreement. That's how come you go through these. Go through the steps, step by step. It doesn't matter what agreement it is. Sit down and read it and do your best to understand it, and ask questions of the professionals. And then here what we have is miscellaneous. You can add more to the miscellaneous, and then it has the JV partner sign. Don't sign it. If somebody puts a piece of paper in front of you and says sign this, my lawyer has looked at it, don't sign it. It's that simple. What you want to do is you want to go and get your lawyer independent legal advice, and unless you are an accredited investor and you have sound understanding of how business works. Because there are people out there that know more than you and myself, and they want you to sign stuff. So don't do it. Talk to your professionals, and any deal is a deal that will just go slowly and surely, where you will buy. And you buy into the process. You understand how it works. So let me show you another joint venture agreement. I'll do my best to go through a couple at a time. So here's another JV agreement here. This one, I actually did end up signing this agreement, and Now, there's problems. I haven't gone through the problems with the joint venture agreements just yet. That's coming. I'm just giving you some outlines so you can see some differences. I ended up signing this joint venture agreement with the exact happening of what I just said I would recommend you don't do. So this particular joint venture partner sent this agreement to me, and I assumed it came from the lawyer. It did not. I then proceeded to just trust my joint venture partner, and I signed these agreements along with my other joint venture partners. And it turned out that this individual basically knew that I didn't know certain things and took advantage of me. That's okay. These things happen. I learned from my mistake, and this is how come I vowed that I would make sure that people who do deals with me understand what they're getting into and get all the paperwork that is necessary. My goal is to train you to do this with other people. The more you know about how to do joint ventures and the proper course of action for joint ventures, you can avoid mistakes that were very costly for me. And I've had to pick myself up, dust myself off, and continue on in my business. So this particular agreement, when I ended up bringing it to the lawyer after they were signed, which kind of was a mistake, he said that these agreements were not good. These were not good agreements. Now, there's two ways for me to see the lawyer saying something like that. The first way was that it wasn't his, and he likes to sell his $1,000 agreements, by the way, which he ended up doing, and I ended up buying, which was fine, because I'm going to end up showing you the agreement that all the JV club members ended up buying together, and I'm sharing this with you, and then I went out and I did deals. So we've all contributed to the success, and now it's time to share the success of joint ventures and how you can use it in your life. So again, don't sign any joint ventures unless you have your lawyer check it out. It's important. If you can't afford a lawyer, go and volunteer for one. If you can't volunteer for one, then there are lots of free legal advice, pro bono legal companies out there that will give you advice. Really, you got to be in a position where you can spend $1,000 on a lawyer, though. If you can spend $1,000 on an education program, you can spend $1,000 to go see a lawyer. Step back and think about it. And I'm not saying don't go and do a deal. And remember that a lawyer is not there to give you business advice. A lawyer is there to give you legal advice in case something goes sideways with your joint venture. And I wish all joint ventures were smooth. They are not. Things happen. People change. I had one joint venture partner that ended up actually passing on. It's unfortunate. These things happen. So the idea here is with this joint venture, I should have never signed it. Not a good idea to sign this agreement, but I'm going to show it to you because it was a mistake, and you deserve to see what mistakes people make because you can avoid them. So the mistake I made was signing a document that my joint venture partner put in front of me without legal advice. That was my mistake. I got legal advice years later. Oh, actually, yeah, about a year or so later, I tried to correct it. That joint venture partner didn't want to correct it. The person knew exactly what they did. It was pre-planned, premeditated. So it made me go, oh, I had no idea that anyone could do this. That's nasty. So here we have the business articles and provisions. We basically have the general definitions, the obligations of the joint venture partners, how much money was put in. This joint venture actually ended up going to court, and I ended up winning with this particular case, which is good. And I just want to show you that it cost me a lot of time, effort, and energy. I could have just spent $1,000 in front instead of spending thousands and thousands of dollars afterwards on legal costs. Really, you want to just do business with people that will take the time to have you do your diligence. And so just right here is agreement with third parties and affiliates of the joint ventures. This individual with his actions actually ended up breaking the joint ventures, and it's quite the ordeal. So I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't sign this agreement. I would always have it notarized in some way and have some kind of legal advice. So let's see if I have time for another kind of example. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to do another presentation going through some other joint ventures. So, what I want you to do, if you're not already a member, is go to the Real Estate Joint Venture Club. We have monthly meetings, and we are. If you want to be a guest speaker, if you want to be a sponsor, whatever it is, if you are an affiliate that wants to do some kind of affiliate marketing, you can have a couple-minute commercial at our monthly meetings. Everyone enjoys to see the sponsors and to see support. It's important. We have a number of people that come out monthly. The financing binder documentation and how a deal process works, it's all online. You can do it yourself. It's important. You got to treat this like the Robert Kiyosaki Cash Flow 101 game. I've played that game many, many times to the point where I said, I want to do this live. I'm tired of playing the game. And so in the game, you have your career and you have your financing sheet, and you share that financing sheet, and everybody knows what it is that you have, and you do your best. In the games that we played, what we did is we did bird dogs and we did joint ventures. And so a bird dog is a referral, a joint venture, and a joint venture is where you stay in the deal as well. And you can work with real estate agents, and there's so many things that you can do. But the financing binder, what it does is it gets you prepared to do a deal. The idea is to get you and all of your joint venture partners on the same page. So you pick your joint venture partners wisely. You make sure that you understand each other's financing binders and know what you can and cannot do, what your limits are. And then what you do is you go out and you start taking a look at deals. And the idea of the joint venture club is to speed that process up for you. So 5, 10, 15, 20 of you are looking at this video, all preparing to do a deal, have your financing binders out, you're ready to get going. The first one's going to be the most complicated, but you're going to have the advisors there. Then there's a second one easier, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way till you get over many. There's tons of training videos already online, between 60 and 90 minutes. I'm doing my best to break all of these presentations down to about 20 to 30 minutes for you, so that it's a little bit easier in bite-sized chunks. We have 3 to 6 hour training videos. Again, this is real education. This is education that you don't normally get. So go to the website, check out our testimonials. We got a lot of testimonials there, and we need more testimonials. So there's 3 specialized by invitation only mastermind groups, and it's not just mastermind on real estate, it's also mastermind on business. We have other businesses, other business niches. We're all business owners and entrepreneurs, and we do real estate as a niche, as a hobby. Some of us actually do it as full-time, and so those are, I mean, that's ideally what we want to do, is replace our current income with a passive income. And then what we have is we have deals done for you. So people that take our information packages, we have them provided now online, and what you do is you just download them and you start filling it out and doing it yourself. Special offer for you is come on and join us for free. There's a $9.99 option. You get more with the $9.99 option, of course. And with the $9.99 option, there's a very small number. They get the deals first, and they get choice picks. And typically, they don't get to the second stage. So we would like for you, if you're a buyer, if you're a seller or a real estate agent, if you're a mortgage broker, if you're a trust company, an investment company, whatever it is, if you're involved in real estate, if you got a business and you're just looking to learn real estate or just transferable skills in your business, this is the club for you. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more about joint ventures.